Runners on. Wind up. Pitch. Block. Gotta love it. The thing that we have enjoyed the most about it is that it gives us an opportunity to offer our program to a much wider geographic area than we do during the wintertime. New England is a great place to vacation. There's lots of things to see up here, and it encourages a lot of people from all over the country where there isn't catching instruction for them to pack up the families, come and stay in a hotel here in New England, and in the time when the camp isn't running for their particular age group to go out and see part of New England.
I like the fact that we can offer something that I as a kid never got to experience. That while roaming around as a 9-year-old in the outskirts of Philadelphia, never could find any type of instruction for this position. And the fact that we are now able to offer that to kids around the country is something that I love to be able to do. To give kids the opportunity to learn a position that's not widely taught, and the instruction is just limited for it. So being able to offer that is a huge thing.
I think we also have the ability when we go and run a summer program like this to do something very intense for 4 consecutive days, something we can't do in the wintertime. We can't do on a weekend program, but we can run 4 consecutive days out on a field and actually run the camp outside. Again, being in New England, once the weather comes in the fall, we all head indoors. And I think it's nice that we can get out on a field, run the drills live in the playing environment that the kids are used to playing in.
The point of offering this summer camp is to give these kids either in the local area or around the country now an opportunity to come to a camp that's geared towards their position. It's geared towards getting them better at what they love to do. You see all kinds of youth baseball camps around the country, and it's just short of baseball daycare. And there's not a lot of learning, there's not a lot of teaching going on. And we pack as much teaching and detailed instruction into 16 hours worth of summer camp as we possibly can, that when these kids leave, they've been able to experience and fine-tune their skills to a level that they've never been able to before.
I think there's probably the biggest thing that I see is as much as students can benefit in growth of their skill from private lessons. And there's certainly a lot to be said about the intensity that you can give instruction with a one-on-one with a coach. This is a team sport. And I think I've always encouraged that, team sports and that kind of camaraderie, I think helps athletes grow. I think within our camp, to be able to see students executing the exact same skill that they just try to execute, or if it's their turn next, they're going to execute. To see another student make exactly the same mistake they've been making and actually finally see their mistake being made by somebody else. Hear an instructor correct it in exactly the same way they just corrected their mistake. I think that allows a big piece of learning that you don't get in a private lesson.
Detailed instruction in a relatively short amount of time. These kids aren't necessarily coming in for weeks at a time. It's a 4-day camp, and they're able to get a ton out of 4 hours a day for 4 days a week. I'd say the experience of hearing things for the first time. A lot of these kids come to camp without ever experiencing any type of instruction with this position, and all of a sudden they're being thrown incredibly detailed instruction of how to better themselves behind the plate. And I think that's a wonderful thing to see. You see 9-year-olds coming in who have trouble catching the ball, and they leave being able to block pitches in the dirt, going home to their towns in California and Florida and anywhere else in the country where they came from, and they're a completely different catcher.
I think the other thing as well is because we have kids come in from all over the country, we have a lot of kids that are very, very big fish in the very, very small ponds they live in. And that's not a bad thing, and that's a great thing. And when those kids are older, they'll have some great memories of the days that they were the town star. But when you start coming in from all over the country and finding out that there's kids better than you, because there's always somebody better than you, I think it's challenged a lot of kids. We've had a lot of kids come to us and tell us, they really thought they were pretty good, and they were within the world that they understood. And they come here to camp and they either see students that have been with our program for a while that are significantly more skilled. They see the instructors that we have that are some of the finest high school and baseball catchers in the Northeast for sure, and in some cases in the country. And I think it helps them put their own skill set in perspective and helps them understand how much work they still have yet to do.
Any catcher who's looking to better themselves behind the plate, this summer program is absolutely for them, regardless of age.
The general recommendation we give in the first answer is we basically tell the parents that when they call to ask about their child, that the child has caught at least one season behind the plate in a kid pitch environment. Obviously we're talking about young kids now. So we get the call about 6- and 7-year-olds who love to catch and love to put the gear on and play in the backyard. And we basically let the parents know at that young age, we want them to have played an entire season behind the plate, dealt with the heat, dealt with just being tired back there and needing to go catch another game at the ripe old age of 7 or 8, before they come and spend 16 hours in the sun. In a more general, more broad sense, anyone who spends any time behind the plate and wants to get better. We have kids that come here where catching's their second position. It's not their first position. They'd like to be stronger at that second position than maybe as a pitcher, an outfielder, or an infielder. And they heard about the camp. And then certainly the kids that this is what they do. This is their position. They want to play at the college level for some of the older kids. They want to be the absolute best they could possibly ever become, and they feel that this is an opportunity for them to get instruction specific to the position that they can't get back where they live.